Today's episode is one you're going to feel, not just hear. My guest, Daniel Osborne, is a man who has built his life and business from the ground up with grit, with integrity, and with a level of craftsmanship and character that sets him apart. He's a veteran, the owner and operator of DRR Drywall Repair in Ocala, Florida, the author of multiple books, a continuing education course author, a Bible study teacher, and a business leader who is showing what it looks like to build both excellence and purpose inside the trades. And what I love about Daniel's story is this: he didn't just build a business, he built a mission. If you're a contractor, a service pro, or someone who's in the trenches trying to grow your business and your life at the same time, this is absolutely an episode you're going to want to take notes on, because Daniel is living proof that your craft can open the door, but your calling is what keeps you walking through it. So buckle up. This one's packed with value, wisdom, and real world lessons from a man who's out there doing the work every single day.
No more burnout, no more fear. We'll build it strong, make it clear. Not just a grind, but a dream that's true. Building a business that works for you.
Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here on the Builder's Edge podcast. It's an honor.
Oh, thank you. Okay, let's talk about your trade roots, building DRR Drywall Repair. Before we get into your writing and teaching and leadership, take us back to that. What first pulled you into drywall repair and the trades?
So I got married pretty young. When you can still count your years on the earth in halves, it's pretty funny. So I was 21 and a half years old to the day when I got married. So I had a little bit of an early start for that. But when you're young and you ain't got no money, you better have a job. So I moved up from the church and the job location I was at. It's about 3 hours south of where my wife and I live. You mentioned right now in the Ocala, Florida area. And so moved up here and on a Wednesday, got married on a Saturday, and started doing drywall on a Tuesday. So
wow, you got thrown right into the trenches.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I kind of got thrown into the trenches. When I was 15, the New York Times came and did an article on my family. And it was pretty interesting. They actually they used to portray, back when I'm telling my age now, but they used to portray families and coal miner families from West Virginia as these, all of us out running in the yard barefoot and naked, or maybe in a diaper, maybe, or something,
stitching together some sacks, some burlap sacks of potatoes, and
Yes.
Bless their heart. Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
It was awful. Okay, so the New York Times was down to cover a strike that my dad's company had. He was actually the control room operator then, and we built houses in between, because they would strike. He was a union miner, and they would strike for everything, Daniel. I mean, if the teachers wanted a longer lunch hour, my dad and the coal miners would strike. Like, they would strike to get anything done in town for anybody, right? So, and then they had struck for a new contract every 3 years. So every 3 years, and sometimes it would be a year or more for a contract.
Oh my goodness.
And we'd have to fill that. And we
Yes.
filled that with every bit and piece. Like, I can remember him sending me under houses to put ductwork in there because he was too big to fit in. And I mean, any job having anything to do with houses, well, often we would just site build a house on those breaks too, because we built the home that we live in to start out with, and then he's third generation, builders, construction, all that kind of stuff. His dad was a masonry and did all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of, handed to him as well. I didn't mean to go all the way out in this, but anyway, the New York Times was down doing some reporting on their strike. And Dad said, "Hey, why don't you come over and see how the rest of us live? Well, of course, they didn't take us in our nice home or any photos like that. They took all of us working on drywall inside of a house that
Oh,
we were working on.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Oh,
was, of
absolutely.
course, and I was stated in there that I think they quoted me that I said that my parents put a drywall knife in my hand about 2 years old, and I've had one in my hand ever since.
We
So,
call her Drywall Deanna. She's just the sweetest thing.
right. Don't you know it? But anyway, that's my drywall story. Okay, back
That's
to yours.
beautiful. I love it. I love it. So again, when you're young and you ain't got no money, you better have a job. And so I was so blessed to learn from an old man. And I can say that now because I'm a very old young man and I'm a very young old man now.
Okay.
So that
You're in that
I'm,
safety zone, huh?
well, kind of. I'm old enough how to know how to do the job, and still young enough to be able to do it. My body's not happy about it sometimes, but it's kind of that sweet spot. It's ideally it's where you're in a position to be able to start passing along trade knowledge. But an old man or a seasoned professional, to be a little bit more PC, is somebody that has gotten to the point of prowess in tradecraft where they have forgotten the reason why they do certain things. And so you get the brand new helper, you get the greenhorn or whatever in your particular tradecraft industry you call the new guy, the worm. And you don't always want to be a curmudgeon. So they ask and when you're young, you have so much energy and you have so many ideas because you've been exposed to a lot of knowledge, but you really don't have any wisdom. You really don't know how it all goes together. And so you're excited to share what you know. And so at the end of the day, the old man will go, all right, let's just try it because they're tired of just dealing with you. And then you do it and it messes up. And then the seasoned professional says, no, now I remember why we do it that way. No more thinking for you. Go back to doing what you're told. So I was so blessed in the fact that the gentleman that taught me the trade for almost 2 years, he literally put his hand on top of mine and show me the right way to do things. It wasn't just a telling, it was a showing. And so I got 30 plus years of trade experience that was poured into a young man. And I wanted to quit every day for the first 90 days. Just about, I wanted to quit every day. And I'd been in the job force. I had my first job at 10, my first business at 12, essentially, for the most part, in the job force full time since I was 14, on my own, as an emancipated minor for all intents and purposes, since I was 16, in the military for a hot minute at 18. And so this wasn't my first or second or third job. I had some time, grit. I'd learned to work with my hands, but drywall specifically and in the repair replacement, you cannot just be a bull in a china closet. It's a lot of technique and it's a lot of understanding and you can read about it and you should learn, but there are some things that must simply be transferred. You got to spend time. And so I was so very blessed to have a great teacher for my first couple of years.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So your brand has a reputation for precision. People describe you almost like the brain surgeon of drywall repair. What does quality mean to you? Your brand has a reputation for precision. People describe you almost like the brain surgeon of the drywall repair. What does quality mean to you, and how did you decide to build a business that was known for excellence rather than speed and volume?
So I probably have an undiagnosed, and I say probably with a little bit of a hint of humor, OCD. So somehow I managed to turn staring at walls and ceilings into a somewhat profitable way of taking care of my family, right? But when it comes to quality, I would probably say it's probably passed along in the genetics and the leaders that I have around me as well. My late grandfather, built violins and cellos basically from scratch. My mother played in the Greenville Symphony Orchestra, and the cello that she has to this day was in one large-bodied piece in like 5 1-gallon Ziploc bags, and he glued that together and pieced that back together. So it is something in my bloodline that I'm very, very blessed to be able to have knowledge of. So it makes a little bit more sense, that tactile functionality, that hand-eye coordination. It was somewhere around my second year in business just trying to dig out a name. And that was 2009, not a real good year to get into the building trades
Oh my
industries.
gosh, no.
But I didn't have much of a choice at that juncture. And I realized that I took an entire kitchen apart and sprayed all of the doors and the face of the cabinets and put them all back together. And I mean, I'm basically making it up as I go at this point in time, and did a pretty fair job of it. But I realized that if I was going to make any real money in my trade craft, I was going to have to be good at one thing. And as a young man that really didn't have another avenue, I did not have any college education at that point in time. I had not been offered the opportunity to go to high school. I just kind of figured out that, hey, listen, if you're going to make this work, you're going to really need to be good at one thing. And so I kind of just focused in on, I'm going to do drywall. It's the trade craft that I was blessed to be able to be trained in, and I'm going to hone in on that. And so with the limited time that I'd had in trade, I had enough of progression in the capability to perform the physical repairs and enough of a mind to understand business, even if not execute it, that we were able to, year after year, for many years, increase both the quality of what we were providing and the total value exchange, and therefore grow in business. Determination is probably, over the years, we gained a little bit of wisdom and a little bit more patience and open-minded as to, I may not have the whole world by the tail, and maybe I should listen just a minute longer.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes some of those that you're kind of bidding on for, price, sometimes it doesn't, usually comes back and bites you in the butt. It doesn't always, it's not always a win for you to try to win on price.
Yeah, we don't compete on price. Kind of digging into that a little bit, you'll hear over and over again in what we try to operate within: exchange of value, exchange of value, exchange of value. Mm-hmm. And so we can end up with a 1 week or 2 week project, end up when it's the right client, and we try very hard to only take on the right types of projects.
Set this up. But for anybody out there listening that doesn't have these system things in, I do have the Client Edge is my CRM to manage this, make it easy for you too. So let's talk about purpose, faith, and personal transformation, Daniel. You've written about anger, healing, faith, and transformation, especially in your book, It Hurts to Be Mad. Can you share a piece of your personal story that shaped the man you are today and the mission you're working on, walking out?
Absolutely. So relationship is everything. So I got asked this some time ago, and they said, if there was one thing, there's always that one thing quote that everybody's looking for, a great soundbite. What's the one thing that you would pass along? And obviously faith is important to me. But part of that faith, that what that makes that go is relationship. I have a relationship with God, and as someone that had very fractured, very tough relationships as a young person, I did not have the correct understanding of how important that was. And so relationships are so key to me. And besides God, besides Jesus, it's the relationship that I have with my wife, and we'll be celebrating 19 years actually in May now.
Congratulations!
So, thank you. She allows me to come home to the same bed every night, and I'm very thankful for that. You come home and you're like, man, there's a lot of places I'd probably, feel a lot more comfortable at. But when you get through those tough times, when I say that, and I believe it bears out and is true, that marriage is God's idea. And so if it's his idea and his plan, then it might be important to kind of keep that in the middle. And so I have such a depth of and a treasure of relationship with my wife now. Now, I used to just be a jerk. I like to pick for fun. Like, really, like if I can make my buddy cry and then he could do it back to me. And that's part of a trades thing, I think, too. And again, being excellent at trade craft, like, you're not having fun unless you're trading paint. If that quarter panel's not creased a little bit, like, you're not even trying. That's just that kind of a part of the culture and what happens. But if you're constantly creasing quarter panels and ripping off rocker panels in a marriage, you're going to spend more time in the body shop than you are than having a happy marriage. And so the key, really, my wife afforded me the opportunity to grow. She afforded me the opportunity to change as a human being, to grow as a professional. And even now, I don't have the market, carved out on really anything besides the fact I need Jesus. I need incredible leaders in my life. I need the Holy Ghost moving on me. And I need to make sure I am a better husband and father when I focus on being a great leader. And there are a lot of really good resources out there. And there's an expression that says that leaders are readers, and that's important. But it's not just books. And he encouraged me. He sent me a scripture one time, and he said, it's Proverbs 22:29, not to get too preachy, but this is the level of success I have. This is how I do it. Okay.
That's fine.
And yes. he texted me. He said, in the NLT, it says, do you see any truly competent workers? They will serve kings rather than working for ordinary people. And the gift that I was able to bring about by just focusing and honing in on my trade craft, and then trying to be consistent and exceeding the expectation of the exchange of value for my clients. I go back to that scripture of encouragement when he put that in front of me and said, this is what I see for you. And I think it's important to be able to acknowledge that. Now, the people that know me, they get the virtue of knowing, who I am after 20 years plus of having the Holy Ghost, and after having the influence of the leaders in my life, and after of being married to Barbara Osborne for, the better part of 20 years. They get the after. They don't get to see the night seasons. They don't get to see the moments, the razor edge opportunities where things really rise and fall in a family and for people personally. And so that's really important to me. Don't just read books, but you need to be around leaders that have a core moral focus and excellency in their trade craft and in their business, to where you can begin to apply that to yourself.
Absolutely. Okay, this faith and personal growth journey, it's influenced your drywall business, how you lead people.
Hey, listen, get your high school education out of the way. Let's go ahead and accomplish that. Yeah. And I felt like I could do that. And so I've got a local business owner here, and he was able to connect us with the board. And we've been able to graduate 5 people with their GED this year through Anchor Academy. So through the church, we kind of set up a cute little name for it called Anchor Academy. And the Literacy Council did a lot of the heavy lifting. We partnered together with helping out with some of the students and the obligations for that. And then really just being there, just being accountable and having a weekly check-in and doing some tutoring involved with it. Excuse me. I realized that after 22 years that maybe the Lord just figured he could trust me enough with the experience of not having a traditional education path. And that changed me. Because in retrospect, if I had a traditional education path where you go to high school, then you go to college, and then you get your white collar provision, and then you kind of make this money and you kind of do these things, you would do well to operate in some understanding and compassion for others. There is some variance in there. So that does leave a little bit of an opportunity to be able to develop yourself professionally. And so we were able to do that via the networking group BNI. And that was very, very important for my personal development as a professional. That was very important for my development as a professional, because I went from being a hunter to a farmer. It's a mindset. I'm not going to go out and kill the deal. I am planting seeds of relationship and of value in my community, and those are going to bring about bumper profits. And I learned that from Paul Bonnell in one of the training courses there. And all the credit, because it was literally, you hear about light bulb moments, that was literally a switch that clicked on for me. And from that second, like that 6-7 seconds of consideration, I decided I'm going to be a farmer. I'm not going to be a hunter. I'm going to
Yes.
be a farmer. I'm not going to be a hunter. And so that's been incredibly important for us. But really on the writing side within my trade craft, as a state of Florida licensed contractor, we have 14 hours of continuing education that we are required to keep every 2 years. So I was going through the course, probably second or third time I kind of had re-upped through this process. And I was going through one of the 1 hour courses. And really, I was like, this is pretty simple and basic. I think I could do this for what I do. Even though it's very, very esoteric, it's a very, very narrow field, I think I could do this. And so really it was, I think I can, that made the difference. So I spent about a year or so putting it together, and then was able to reach out to a couple of the testing services and said, hey, listen, I see that, you provide this. Is this something where you would be open to having an author? And I think they even had on their website, to be able to approach as an instructor or as an author, I should say. And so we were able to get listed and approved by the Construction Industry Licensing Board for our state and in others. And so that's a pretty cool thing. It's not a huge amount of income, but it's reoccurring passive income. So you do the work on the front end, and it was a lot of work because again, excellence, right? Excellence. We talked about that a little bit before the podcast even started. You didn't come up with the Builder's Edge podcast and be like, oh, it just happened. The part is watching people be able to excel in what they are good at.
Absolutely. It is. All right, listeners, I always leave you with one actionable step, because listening without implementing doesn't move your business forward. So today's step, take this. Take one lesson from Daniel's story, integrate integrity, excellence, purpose, leadership, and choose one place in your business to raise your standard this week. Just one better standard, create better clients. That creates better referrals, and that's a better business. That's a better business for your business. Ask what those pieces are. Ask, what positions, and that you want to step out in and step forward in, and those of your team as well. Daniel, when your episode airs, my team and I will be sending you a full guest promo packet. It'll have graphics, reels, captions, everything you need to share your message and your story to your audience. I'd love it if you'd share those materials when your episode drops, and be sure to tag the Builder's Edge podcast so we can celebrate and amplify your voice together.
Wonderful. I look forward to it. Thank you so much.
And Daniel, before we close, I ask this to every guest. If you know of a contractor or service pro or builder who's out there grinding, someone who's struggling to get found online right now because AI has changed the game, I would love an introduction. Your referral could make a huge impact in helping them gain their vision again and become visible. So Daniel, thank you so much for being here today. Your story, your craftsmanship, your mission, this is exactly why I created the Builder's Edge. You're the kind of leader who reminds all of us that the trades aren't just a job, they're a calling. Okay, to my listeners, if you're wondering whether you're being found online, if AI has stopped showing your business, or if your phone isn't ringing like it used to, go take your free AI visibility scorecard at ai-visibility-fix.com. You'll answer a few questions, get your score instantly, and then be sure and download your free blueprint that tells you exactly what to fix. It's completely free, a thank you, and it's one of the smartest moves you can make in your business this week. Thank you for tuning in to the Builder's Edge. I'm your host, Deanna, and remember, this isn't just about building a business, it's about building your life, a life that you're proud of. So see you next time.